So I was at the FAIR conference last night and listened to Aaron Sherinian, the communications director for the church. He gave a good talk, a good presentation. He had some good messages. But as you may have heard already, when he was done, there was a Q&A, and he was asked specifically, do you support the Family Proclamation? Now, why would that have come up? Why would that be an issue? The issue is, and you can go back, and I've got a couple of episodes on this from when Brother Sherinian was called to be communications director, on his background and things that I had seen on social media with him. But that's a legitimate question for him. It's a legitimate question. Has that changed? Has it not changed? In his talk, he brought up, and in the Q&A, he brought up how there was a lot of pushback when he was called, and flak is what he called it. And, I might have been the one leading that out at the time. But he did say a really good thing about that, I will say. He said, do I take it personally when people had asked him that about those messages? And he said, yes. He said, but the person that may be saying those things is also taking things personally about, his background and things that he has said. And I appreciated that. That at least tells me there's awareness that is there. And I have no doubt that Aaron is very good at his job. There's a reason he's put there. I have no doubt that he's a good husband and a good father. And these are all the most important things, right? These are all the most important things. And so you need to keep that in context. He's a good man, right? But the reason that this is important in the Q&A and it's very important, when he was asked specifically, do you support the Family Proclamation? He said a lot of words. He would not answer. He wouldn't answer. And it's unfortunate that we're in a position where this becomes almost this litmus test. And I'm sure people that do not want to answer the question about the Family Proclamation look at it that way. It's like, this is a cudgel. It's divisive. Well, the only reason it's divisive is because it's truth. And because certain individuals have a certain background and tendency to sweep it under the rug. And in context, our society is moving further and further into Babylon, and the primary motivator for this, the primary energy in that move, is the destruction of the family. And when you can't say, I support the Family Proclamation, even a little bit, there's a problem. That is a problem. Now, in most positions, he doesn't have a priesthood calling in that. I mean, he does probably, but not in his position here. He's a church employee. And for most of the church employees, I don't know that that's a major thing. I mean, we want to have a large enough umbrella that you can bring in people that have different ideas and whatnot. But in that position, where you are one of the faces of the outward look of the church and inward, then there's an issue there. He has got to find a way to either align himself more with that, or a better way to answer this. Because you had 300 people there live, plus you have people streaming this live. And it's the elephant in the room, and it becomes the message. And he's not the only person of influence in Salt Lake, of a large amount of influence in Salt Lake, that does this, that will sweep it under the rug completely. And so all of a sudden you're a member of the church and you're like, what is going on? Why is it this way? Why is this happening? I mean, to me, I see this and I get the lesson that, well, if the Family Proclamation is brought up, then just skirt around it. You don't need to support it because you don't want to offend Babylon. I mean, that's the worst thing that you could do. And of course, for some people, there are other forces. There are other issues, right? What if you have a member of your family that is LGBTQ and you're afraid that that's going to cause problems? Fine. I get that. I understand that. But if you're in a position that he's in, and there's and people that he works with, I'm sure at the UN and other places, I mean, this could be something that is a problem, right? It's a problem, perhaps with some of his work. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But it's the reason it's important is because everybody sees Babylon moving along here, the destruction of the family, and yet there are people in influential positions that will not even stand up for it. And just the opposite. I mean, obviously, if he's not going to stand up for it, he either doesn't agree with it, or he's afraid to say it. And that's concerning. And I think that makes it even more important that we do speak up about it. There are people in the comments on X that, there are several people that have commented on this already because the video's already out from FAIR. People see for themselves that he did not answer this. It's kind of a word salad that he goes through on this. And so there's responses, and some of them are, well, you're just a right-winger. Isn't that interesting? No other politics are being brought up here, but if you support the Family Proclamation or you have an issue with someone skirting around it and not addressing it, all of a sudden you're a right-winger. I think that's a bizarre reaction. I mean, is it from the brethren or is it not? And is it brought up still at the pulpit or is it not? Did President Oakes call it doctrine or is it not? It's not scripture, right? There's a difference there. But it is all based on doctrinal principles from the church all the way through the temple. And do we go, the question then, right, what this comes down to, the question is, are we going along with Babylon? Do we go along with Babylon? Or do we stop and let the current pass us? And that's what I think most people take issue with. Why are you influenced by the outside world to such a degree that you cannot stand up for some of the most pure principles of family, of marriage, of children, and not say, hey, we're a church that is built on family. We're a church that's built on these principles. And to be in a position of influence like that is very concerning to me and obviously to many others, that you can't answer this simple question. I hope that he can come up with a way to do this better, regardless, right? I hope he can come up with a better way to answer these types of things and others that are in positions of leadership, because it's just going to fuel the fire of people that are concerned over certain people in positions of influence in Salt Lake. Thanks for listening.